The latest MAGA civil war has begun.
There's now a big rift between President Trump and one of his biggest supporters.
The political breakup heard round the world.
He's coming after me hard to make an example to scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files.
Trump says he will no longer support Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Wacky, a ranting lunatic, rhino, and a traitor.
He even dubbed her Marjorie Traitor Greene. You see what he did there?
So to the surprise of many people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican Party member of Congress representing some part of Georgia, is suddenly becoming less awful. Now, there are some strategic reasons for her to be doing this, potentially. Though I don't think anybody is forcing her to do this. It's not like she couldn't just double down on supporting Trump and insulting everybody else. It is the path she's choosing, though it may be the path that does serve her interests in the long run if she thinks that the SS Trump is going to sink and she's trying to carve out a home for herself in the political landscape that comes after, whatever that's going to look like. Though I suppose you could be cynical any time a person becomes less bad, I don't know. In this interview on CNN a couple days ago, she apologized for contributing to a toxic, divisive political environment. But as many people pointed out, this came only after Trump started attacking her, calling her a traitor, which kind of freaked her out. But does that mean that it can't be genuine? Like, becoming the victim of something yourself can give you perspective. There have been people who were, like, anti-abortion until their daughter got pregnant, and then suddenly that changed their mind on it. Like, that type of thing happens.
Ow! That hurts! My God, is that what I've been doing to people? I belong here.
So that could be what's happening. I mean, that would be the optimistic way of reading this. Reading these posts that she made, though, this feels honestly very crafted. Like, she's trying to make her point as strongly as she can, but without directly attacking Trump or, like, burning the bridge with Trump land. Like, she is walking a line here. This looks to me like very carefully, like she might have worked with a team of lawyers to write these tweets, for all I know, because they're really well written for the purposes that she probably has in mind. I've seen a bunch of far-left people online coming up with a story which they're now telling themselves, which is that liberals and centrists and Democrats were all cool with Miss Greene now and welcoming her as one of us. And the point being made is they're saying, oh, so the Democratic Party is such a big tent, big enough for Dick Cheney and Marjorie Taylor Greene, but not for Mamdani. And this is kind of some, like, alternate reality politicking. It's something MAGA does a lot, where they start reacting to something that nobody's really saying, and then going like, oh my god, can you believe that all the liberals are outraged about the fact Walmart has Christmas decorations or something? And then you're looking around wondering, like, what? Who is saying that? I don't see anyone saying that. But then they're outraged about this, like, idea that that's the thing that liberals are saying, right? So reacting to the idea that there's a bunch of people saying something is a way to imply your straw man into existence. When it comes to Mamdani, I feel like almost everybody I know who is centrist, liberal, anybody who, like, would have supported the Democratic Party over the Republican Party, I feel like pretty much everybody thought Mamdani was fine. There was, like, a statement or two he made that seemed a little odd, and maybe we would have liked better answers for that or something. Like it wasn't a full-throated, he's 100% the candidate that we want. But I don't think there was nearly as much resistance to him as his proponents wanted to make you think. As for the other side of things, Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't being accepted by anybody as anything. She didn't become a left-winger overnight. She just said, Trump isn't really delivering on grocery prices, and he's kind of fucking over everyone's healthcare premiums. And hey, what's going on with the Epstein files? Why is he against releasing those? What's up? If a Republican Party member wants to turn around and do the right thing every now and then, I'm not going to oppose that. And when somebody does something good, it doesn't make sense to react negatively, right? That's discouraging people from getting better. You want to have an environment where if somebody does something good, they get rewarded or they get praised, they get acknowledgement. And then if they do something bad, there's a negative reaction. If you're a left-wing person, you might remember a right-wing man named John McCain. The Republican Party almost destroyed Obamacare some years ago, but then at the last minute, McCain decided to vote against doing so, thereby saving the law. Now, if you're a left-wing person, you still disagree with John McCain about plenty of other things, but if you support the Obamacare legislation, then that was kind of a good thing that he did, right? So it wouldn't make sense to attack him and call him a piece of shit for doing something you were happy to have him do. I feel like that's how people should view what's happening with Miss Greene. And this isn't even the first instance of Miss Greene becoming less bad. When she was first elected, she was like endorsing QAnon conspiracy theory stuff. I think shortly before getting elected, she was posting on Facebook about how we should execute Democrats for treason or something like that. I forget the exact content. The point is, she used to post really, really extreme things and really out there stuff. It's like an actual crazy Facebook mom from out in the country, from rural Georgia, randomly got elected to the House. But then after becoming a House member and actually being part of government procedure, she stopped believing in a lot of the conspiracy theories. And, though granted, maybe because it was, she realized that she might get in trouble legally at some point, I don't think she's posted anything as crazy as, like, calling for people to be killed online. So, the point is, she used to be worse. She used to be worse before even last year. She has slowly got less bad. And I think that's all anybody is experiencing with Marjorie Greene right now. Nobody's trying to nominate her as a Democrat or say, oh yeah, she's one of us now. It's just like, oh, huh. A Republican who's not as bad as a Trump Republican. That used to be a thing. That used to be the norm, even. Hopefully we didn't think they were all just going to remain this bad forever.
Look over here,
The American people have demanded it.
Now, there's a thought that I had when discussing with a friend earlier about how much credit somebody really deserves for coming to a realization such as, QAnon was not real and was just conspiracy theory horseshit.
I was a victim, just like you were, of media lies and stuff you read on social media.
Is that sometimes it's better to just never make a mistake to begin with than to have to make that mistake and then recover from it. Imagine if I'm an alcoholic and I successfully quit alcohol. Well, that's good for me. I had to go through some struggle and stick to it, and eventually, now I'm not an alcoholic anymore. But then you never became an alcoholic in the first place. I think some people would give me more praise for overcoming my alcoholism than you for never falling into alcoholism to begin with, partly because who knows if you could have overcome it if you had fallen in with me. And then also I might just be more predisposed to alcoholism. But if it's something like, you used to think the earth is flat, but then after years of believing that, you came around to see that you were mistaken, whereas I never thought the earth was flat, I don't think you should get any credit for overcoming your flat eartherism. That just means you're an idiot. Like, I guess you're not as stupid as somebody who remains a flat earther. You got out, but it's really troubling that you could become a flat earther to begin with. I think I deserve more praise. Well, not praise exactly. It's not like a high bar that I got over, but I deserve less condemnation. It's better to not be so dumb that you ever fall for flat earth stuff in the first place than it is to be so dumb that you fall into it, even if you did later get out. So I guess it depends on the issue, whether we think that recovering from a mistake is better or worse than not making the mistake. My intuition kind of flips depending on what example we write in. I used to believe in QAnon, but now I don't, and I realized it was wrong. To me, that just sounds like you have really bad judgment or like a poor grasp on reality or how government works. I mean, I would very much prefer a politician who just never believed it to begin with. If Mr. Carney told me that he used to be a QAnon believer, I would be really, really fucking concerned, even if he said that he no longer believed it, because I don't want someone who ever believed something like that. But the problem is, in Miss Greene's case, is there a good alternative? Now, okay, the Democratic Party candidate in her riding perhaps, but they're probably not going to win. There is a certain population, a certain demographic that people like Miss Greene give voice to. The right-wing voters in small-town Georgia that she represents. If not her, who are these people going to elect? They have to elect somebody. Flawed though she may be, Greene could still be the least bad representation of that community. This is a pretty nice area, though she's not actually from here. There is such a thing as good opposition. You can't just put Democrats in every region across the country. There's millions of people, often bunched up all into one region, who vote for the alternative, whatever that is. These are people who need a voice, who need an outlet, who need somebody to represent them. Good opposition generally means people who disagree with you, but who are respectful and law-abiding and who actually care about the people they represent. Miss Greene was not this. She was very disrespectful, and she didn't seem to care that much about the rule of law, considering she was trying to help Trump overthrow the fucking election. When it comes to that third point, I haven't been following Miss Greene very closely. I'm not a big fan of hers, listening to every media appearance that she makes. But I guess I haven't seen anything that makes her seem very callous about her own community or the welfare of the people in her district. The fact that she is opposing Trump on the issue of consumer prices remaining high is sort of her fighting for her people against the party. Miss Greene has an interesting story because, I just realized there's a California politician named Al Greene. I guess that's why she always goes by her initials. It's a little too unclear to just say Greene. Well, MTG has a story that is at least a little bit interesting. She kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, according to her, she only really started following politics around the time that Trump became president. But then she got involved in a bunch of online groups. I imagine her just posting in Trump supporter Facebook groups. And then after a couple years, she decided to run for Congress herself. She originally campaigned in one place, but then shifted to another pretty low-population, low-stakes district where she didn't actually live because the previous Republican incumbent had just retired. So, a 47-year-old conspiracy theory Facebook mom with no political experience somehow found an opportunity to make it into Congress. And then the results were a bunch of bullshit. Basically, her Facebook feed of nonsense spewing out into the public forum, her space lasers thing, her posting a bunch of, all the pro-Russian stuff during the Russia-Ukraine war, all the ridiculous shit that she said about the COVID pandemic, the vaccines being like the mark of the beast or whatever.
A COVID passport, is this something like Biden's mark of the beast? Because that is really disturbing. You see, it's still the same thing. It's still fascism or communism, whatever you want to call it, but it's coming from private companies. So I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Feeding into bullshit about Fauci, promoting the idea, of course, that the 2020 election was stolen after that happened, and then playing a part, like beyond what was ever asked of her, to help facilitate Trump's failed coup of the government. I feel like she was a true believer, like she actually thought, this is legit and we're fighting against the deep state here. This is a person who, over the course of 4 years, has done and said a bunch of really bad stuff. But what if? What if she does change? What if she does get better? And maybe 10 years from now, she's still around, still in politics, and you end up viewing her kind of like how a lot of people viewed John McCain, as somebody you disagree with, but they're not a terrible person. They do actually have some principles, they do believe in certain things, you can count on them to do the right thing, at least every so often. It's not impossible, I guess. This isn't someone who's been in office for decades and is rigidly dug into all of their beliefs and positions and who shows no sign of budging on anything. This person's political career is only 4 years old, and we've already seen her make a few changes already. She's apologized for comments she made in the past, and now here she is doing it again.
There is no comparison to the Holocaust. And there are words that I have said and remarks that I've made that I know are offensive, and for that I want to apologize.
It's an interesting story because her future is unwritten. We're all kind of interested to see where this ends up. But hey, even if she doesn't, and this is as good as it gets, try to keep things in perspective. The orange bastard is going to keel over eventually, and there's definitely way more evil Republicans than Greene waiting to fill that void, sad as that may be. The bar for American politicians is depressingly low, but you have to work with what you have.
We have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
This was actually a really critical and pointed interview that she took, and she took it really well.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism, and I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country, and it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions, and I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Jesus Christ. I mean... Okay, then.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented...
I guess this was a possibility, too. Hey, this is YouTube, so I'm supposed to ask you guys to please press all the buttons down there. Like and subscribe and share and comments and all that stuff. It helps me a lot. But seriously, it does help a lot. I would like it if you could do that.